I drove my dagger through the prince's hand for touching me after I warned him. Hours later, the wound was gone, no blood, no scar, nothing human. He only said he could explain, then asked what I knew about dragons. What exactly was standing in front of me? The stench of decomposing bodies filled the decrepit house, making me choke on a gag. Savagely and brutally murdered, the women most likely defiled. I knew exactly who had ruined these people. Sadly, it didn't take a genius to figure out that this was once a happy family. Wasting no extra time, I began digging 4 separate graves. As much as I wanted to dig each grave 6 feet deep, I had no time for that. I knew I had to leave the graves unmarked. Because the Vikings were not above grave digging, and the last thing this family needs is to be violated anymore. Somewhat remorsefully, I left the graves and started my trek to the Black Forest. Tall and ancient trees towered over my 5'8" body, making me smile at the familiarity. Thanks to 3 years of traveling at night, my eyes have become quite adjusted to the darkness. In fact, I'm pretty sure I have superior eyesight to the everyday human. My signal must be worked as not even 10 seconds later heavy footsteps started thudding towards me. A grunt was my only warning as a 2,000-pound stallion barreled into my back. "Hello, Ragnar." I started scratching his nose. Once seated on top of Ragnar's massive back, I gave him a quiet whistle. Ragnar knew the way and began our 2-hour trek to Everest, the capital of the south, where I stayed when I needed a bed to sleep in rather than a tree branch. That's the thing about surviving after the plague. Sometimes it was best to know nothing or little about something, then to search for answers. My sister, well, she died while fighting for me. Something that had motivated me to become who I am today. A cold-blooded killer with a sweet smile. The huge stone walls of Everest came into view and I noticed the black and red uniforms of guards walking along the wall. Ragnar strutted up to the front gate. "Lady Björk." The guard on the right side nodded. "If it isn't the beloved Lady Björk." The king's right hand, Harold, grinned at me as Ragnar walked through the gate. "King Samuel invites you to dinner tonight and expects you to attend." I turned and smiled politely. "Send him a postcard from me, will you?" I didn't wait for his response. As I whistled for Ragnar to pick up his pace into a trot, how I wish I could see his face when Harold tells him that I won't be accepting his offer. For the millionth time, maybe someday I should stop ignoring the king, but that day isn't today. I turned and entered the trading post, Lefty's Trading. "Lady Björk, I haven't seen you for a while," Lefty said as he got to the counter. Despite the fairly good deal I made, I had no use for the money. In fact, I was in no need for money thanks to my job 3 years ago, but I needed to look like this was how I made money. Otherwise, people would get suspicious. If outsiders got any word of who I really was, there could be problems. So I kept up the scavenging appearance. Shrugging, I walked away from the trading post and toward the local bar. The sounds of general buzz met my ears as I entered the saloon-looking bar. That was until I met piercing blue eyes, and my thoughts slipped away from me. The blue-eyed stranger was strange. Covered in a pitch-black cloak, he blended in well with the black apparel of most patrons in the bar. Though with his hood up it was hard to see any more of his features. He seemed to have a decent build about him, but the cloak did good about hiding him almost completely. Luckily, no hood could cover up the beautiful ice blue of his eyes. Why is he staring at me? I watched as the stranger abruptly stood and left. I turned off of the main street and picked up my pace a bit as the stables came into view. Cracks in the wood of the barn made for easy footholds, and it took me barely 2 minutes to climb up the side of the stable. The window was, thankfully, unlocked and I easily climbed through it. I gasped as I saw another horse in the first stall of the barn. A pure white horse that had the fluffiest looking mane I had ever seen. I approached the horse. "You're a beautiful creature." My eyes snagged on her bridle hanging up on the side of her stall. A beautiful black bridle hung on the hook. Red gemstones decorated the headpiece and nosepiece, making the bridle almost sparkle. "Well, that answers that." I smirked at the horse. "You're a royal horse." "You must be. Why the barn doors are locked?" I looked around her stall again, and caught sight of something shiny lying in the bedding. Bending over, I picked up a beautifully crafted royal ring. The black obsidian of the ring was centered by a red ruby. The southern crest of a Celtic origin was branded on the inside of the ring, and my heart increased as I thought of the value of this ring. Why is a royal in the capital and not their precious castle? I pocketed the ring and left the mayor's stall. I hit the streets of Everest again, headed straight for the bar. The door to the bar opened. A cloaked figure strutted into the bar. Icy blue eyes crashed into mine as the male figure approached the bar, taking a seat 2 down from me. I couldn't help but stare at the male. "Do you need something?" An annoyed male voice asked me as he snapped his head to me. His voice was deep and alluring. "Do you need something?" I asked back. The male glared at me. "This is the second time I've seen you today. I can't help but feel you're following me," I said, while taking a quick look at his hands. Sadly, his hands were gloved. "Perhaps you're following me," the male responded. "I was here first. Both times," I exclaimed. "Good for you." The male rolled his eyes at me. My temper started to flare a bit at the clear entitlement of this male. "Excuse me, who do you think you are?" I glared at the cloaked figure, who was completely hidden except for those stunning eyes. His hood cast a shadow over his face, hiding even his chin from view. "According to you, I'm your follower," the male said dully, almost as if this conversation was boring him. Realizing that nothing good would come from this conversation, I abruptly stood. I felt like steam was coming off of me as I left. Who does that male think he is? He dismissed me like I was literal trash under his black fancy boots. Whatever. You know what? That male wants to treat me like that, then that's his loss. What do I care? I don't even know him. Once inside my room, I dug up my backpack, got out all my weapons, and began sharpening them. Sharpening my blades always was quite relaxing. By the time I finished, all thoughts of the cloaked male were gone, mostly, and I was once again clear-headed.